Blink is your buying. Welcome to our show. Okay, so doing well with having a wonderful day on this glorious, and I do mean glorious, 2nd October 2025, part 2 of our Brooklyn Nine-Nine recap. I'm so sorry. So what happened is this tire that I thought was dead kind of flashed, and it was just lagging. Then we played a little bit, which is 10 minutes, and then it lagged again. So yeah. It is indeed dead. So, like I mentioned, I have 4 episodes to do. We have Mr. Santiago, we have Terry Ryder, we have who else? We have we have a couple of one. So to finish with Jake and Miguel, I think it's a great execution because they end up hitting each other, right? Jake has a document to know the father of Amy when he should have just asked him. Dude, we're losing so much storage. Holy shit. So much batteries. I think it's kind of cool because at the end, Miguel also had a document on Jake. So is the pot calling the kettle black, which is kind of funny in my opinion. What else? Yeah, at the end you realize that those two don't have their word to say. Amy can date who she wants, she likes her father, she likes Jake's, and if they don't like each other, she doesn't care, which is bravo Amy. Because Amy, you see her as more of a calm person, submissive person, but in this one she has the balls to say, no, Dad, you're wrong, no, Jake, you're wrong. This is super cool. So at the end, there's this really amazing thing where you're basically you basically say to Jake, you know what? I don't have to like you. You help me solve this case. You're a good cop. You're a good person. I give you my blessings. Now we have the other plot, which is kind of cool because it's Amy, Gina. Am I forgetting? I think it's Amy, Gina, Terry. Oh yeah, this is super good. Yeah, there's three timelines, and I've completely forgot. So I think it was one of the first episodes with a three timelines. So got Pimento and Captain Oat. This is how long ago I've done it. 7%. We're good. We're losing battery still, but we'll have time. Pimento says, "Hey, I don't know if I can be a cop anymore. I've been gone for too long." And Captain Oat's like, "You know what? I believe in you. If you want to start something, I'm gonna help you out." And then Pimento said, "I have planned, but it costs X amount, right?" So Oat, being a trustworthy person, comes in and he's like, "Yo, I'll lend you the money." Now, funny thing is, Oat watches a dog show. Now, it's kind of cool because you're making Oat a more fun person, but you're not disrupting who he is. So what I mean by that is, you know that Captain Oat is a person that has a dog that he loves, which is Chester. You know that he's very sophisticated, so when he likes a dog show, you're not surprised, and it's actually a really cool thing. So yeah, I gotta check something. Good. These take so much time. They take so much freaking time. Every single lab that I have takes time. That's okay. It is okay. So you have Pimento, and instead of putting the money in a safe place, or he gambled it. And it's kind of funny because he's gambling it on the dog race. Now this is super cool because they become a quest to get Oat reimbursed. So they go to see the bookies. The bookie doesn't. He said, "Okay, well, I bet online," and then and this is super cool because they bet it online, right? And you can't find it online because it's so complex, right? But at the same time, the Fox Terrier, which is the dog that they chose, is really, I remember this like yesterday, which is when we watched it. This is really good though. I'm very clear-minded. Maybe because there's no stress, which is great. The Fox Terrier comes in and he is there. And this is super cool because Oat, again, being a father figure to most of the cops in the precinct, becomes a kind of a father figure to Pimento. So what he does is, Pimento is talking to the bar, and it's like, hey, put the dog race. Like, no, I can't do it. There's football matches, and people have to take a beer and crush it. And then the guy, the bartender, is like, are you crazy? This is the game of Thanksgiving game. First of all, and second of all, it's the finale. It's the there's a, I don't remember how you call it, but it's extra time, right? So whoever scores is gonna be it. So then Alt take a beer and crush it and do like pimento. So that was kind of cool. We get a scene with Rosa, Charles, Amy, and Terry, and this is also cool because they bring in live turkey. So Charles says that no more, the fresher it is, the better it is. They like brings life a turkey, and then Amy and Rosa are like, no, Amy and Gina are like, no, you can't kill a turkey, and Charles is like, yeah, it doesn't matter, we're gonna eat it, right? And it's like he's a living being. And Gina does something that is breaking my mind how clever it is, but how funny it is. Says, we're gonna name the turkey, that way you don't kill it. And they say, well, and Charles like, I don't care about the name. And then she named the turkey Nicolaj, which is the name of Charles' son. So it's kind of funny. There's also this really cool scene where Charles gets the knife and he has like a hoodie that protects him from the splatter of blood. And he sharpened the knife and he says, I feel like Dexter. And then in the show, there's Miguel from Dexter. So super good show. Episode number 8. Oh, I forgot. Number 7 was called Mr. Santiago. Yeah. This is super cool because the intro is basically it's funny, but it's also clever. So they have this guy who's doing the Zamboni and wiping the floor. And the people in the precincts, like, we never saw him because we worked at day shift. And they're like, okay, well, we wanted to go back to day shift, which is important because episode number 9 is a plan to go back to episode 10 is a plan to go back to the day shift, right? So what ends up happening is they walk the floor and Jake goes in. And this is also important because they show the evolution of Alt. So he goes in and he slides all over the floor. And the elevator door open, and Alt is in the elevator, and he can't stop himself because it's going so fast. And instead of giving him shit, Alt is like, he did the full ball pin, and everybody celebrates. So it's kind of like a really cool thing because it does show that Alt is growing as a person, but also becoming more fun. And it's kind of cool because the whole precinct is fun. So I did really like that. So we are at 5%. Something is going on, baby. And that something ain't kosher. Yeah, this is no good. Okay, it doesn't matter. Ain't you can do it. So we got the episode, and it's kind of cool because it's a good plot, but it really sucks because it's a boring plot, right? Because so there's this guy who is a writer, who is a celebrity, right? Who is he has some death threats. And this is kind of important because this is a star, it is a hero for Terry. Because he wrote the books that are kind of meant to be like Game of Thrones, but before Game of Thrones, which doesn't exist, which is the Skyfire, right? It's cool because they're saying like, hey, don't meet your hero. End up that the writer is kind of a piece of shit, right? And it's kind of sucky because they did the same thing with Alt. Like, okay, well, you're redoing the same plot, what the fuck, right? There's that, what else? We see a couple of scenes. I don't remember what is the other. I know that this is Jake and. Oh yeah, okay, never mind. I got it. So this is, I knew there was something else. So we have the first plot, which is Jake and Terry, and then Terry is like, oh, this is really important to me because I was a fat kid, and he's the reason why I started working out because he told me that I chose to shape my own destiny. So this is kind of cool. This is kind of important in the show, right? So that being said, we go in. That being said, I love saying that. And he said, oh my god, I have to do it now. 11 days. Shit. Oh fuck. I'm not gonna be able to do it. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's tomorrow. I made a mistake. It's okay. We'll fix it. We'll fix it tomorrow. What was I saying? I'm sorry. So Terry goes in with Jake and he meets the guy and he said, hey, you wrote this message for me when I was a kid. And it's like, the match is a perfect match. But it's kind of cool because it's super nerdy. It shows Terry as a big nerd, which is kind of cute. And Terry says, "Hey, you wrote me a note when I was younger." Like the handwriting of the letter of being like a threat in the same handwriting. And it's like, yeah, but no. Yeah, because it's my assistant. But no, I didn't write the letter, right? So they get who it is, right? Now, they write this writer as a playboy, so the reason why the writer assistant was mad because he slept with his wife and his sister, which is kind of cool, because again, it's supposed to be this whole world where this guy is kind of like a rock star. So we have what else? Terry is pissed off because he lied, and at least we find out who it is. But it's kind of cool because Terry is in a position where he was worshiping this lie, and then when he realized that it was a lie, instead of being sad, he's like, you know what? Oh shit. There you go. There you go. Phone was too hot, I guess. He says, okay, well, you know what? He was right. He's an asshole, he was right. I have to write my own story. So this is the beginning of Terry as a person. And this is kind of cool because Terry is supposed to be this super important person, this sergeant, this guy who's imposing, but kind of like a wussy. So the fact that he has his own story means that he is willing to take care of things and be more authoritative with people around him. We had the second plot, which is Gina and Charles. This is kind of sad because most of the characters are not really involved, right? So Charles and Gina, because remember that Gina, mom, married Charles' father, which makes her an honorary Boyle. And they go to the ship, right? So they have money and they go to the ships. And Gina sees an opportunity. She's like, okay, well, let's go to another place. And then it's kind of cool because Charles goes in and said, no, you're never gonna convince him. So it's like an election for the clans of Boyles, who they want, Gina or Charles. Now, it's really cool because you see that Boyles, even though he is Boyles, is possibly the most accomplished member of the Boyles clan. But it's also cool because the plot of it is Gina bribes them all. She seduces them all. She gets them all to vote. And then Boyles like, no, I didn't. You didn't win. You didn't win. You learned everything that there was to know about the Boyles, and now you're close to the family that you were before. This is a win for me. Which is a good plot, but it's a bad plot because it's a good plot when you think about it, but it's a bad plot when you think about, well, I don't know, when Pimento was bullying Charles and Gina got Beta into Alpha protecting him, right? So there you go. And this is basically the episode. It's cool. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. We got number 9, Surmolition. So this is kind of important because this is an episode that is, how can I say this? This is pivotal in the plot. Not the best episode, but pivotal in the plot. So, guys, remember the cold open? I don't remember it. I don't remember the cold opening. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's Charles that makes a horrible joke, and Jake will beg him not to make the joke. So this is kind of cool because it's not the funniest of cold open, not the most clever cold open, but it's using the character that you created in a way of simulation. What is it in English? It's super nice because you're using the character in the way that you build them up. So you build them, but for your family using them, and before you weren't using them, which is stupid. So there's this. There's another part which is actually super good, and the other part that's super good is that we have the first case of losing cocaine. Why is that super good? Because in the show there's like 3 times where he loses cocaine. So you guys remember the fucked up cop? Well, not fucked up, but the failure of a cop that replaced them in the end of season 2. Well, he's still around. So he lost a piece of cocaine, and he's asking Old and Jake to help him. Now this is super cool. This is super cool because you have this character. This is the opposite. You introduce this character that you didn't really build, and now you're putting in an episode to build him. You know, he's a fuck up, but what is more than that? You want more information than just that he's a fuck up. So this is kind of cool, but at the same time, it's also quite complex because we don't know much about this character. So you either have to, you're kind of building the character, but you're building a character that is a failure. So you're building the failure, you know? So Jake is like, yo, let's not help him because of how bad he is. Jake is basically saying like, hey, um, if he's really bad, we're gonna get him to quit, or to leave the police force because he's not good enough, right? And then if he leaves, we're back in the day shift. So the plan is that, but Alt is helping and he's helping and he's helping, and this is cool because Alt has a mentality which is great, mentality of I don't care who is protecting Brooklyn, I want to protect Brooklyn. As long as Brooklyn is a safe place, I don't care who did it, right? Which is kind of good, right? But at the end, it's kind of cool because, and this is super super funny. One of my favorite moments is they're literally asking for, so basically in the bags of cocaine that they lost, there's also a cell phone, and the cell phone contained the number of one of the gangsters that they were looking for. So because they contained the number of gangsters they were looking for, he ends up being in a. It's kind of cool because they end up doing a sting where they pretend like they're gangsters and they're getting drugs. It's not 22 Jump Street. 22 Jump Street, possibly the one that did the best, did it super nicely. So that being said, what else? That was two days ago, and it's kind of funny because they have it here piece, and you got CJ, which is the failure of a cop, who is always talking to them, and it's kind of funny because they're talking to them, and this guy he's talking to the cops, and CJ's like, oh, I remember when my mom first told me that she loved me. It was such a nice moment, and they're both telling him to shut up. So he's like, okay, well, we're cops. So in every single way, CJ is fucking up. Now this is cool because it makes Alt realize like, yeah, you might be keeping the city safe for today, but he's in constant danger. So Alt does the plan of Jake, but he does it better. So how does it do it better? Super 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 simple. He goes in and he's like, okay, well, CJ is doing so good that's gonna get promoted. Because he gets promoted, he's getting promoted out of the. So for example, right, Alt and CJ had the same grade. They had the same amount of beige. They had the same title, right? And then because of the drug bust, CJ was moved to another place, which is the result that they wanted. So this is the plot of Alt and Jake. Now, I'll be completely honest, Alt and Jake are amazing, but it sucks because we miss Terry and Gary, which was a part where they went to Palm Stream, something like that. I don't even remember that. We have the second plot. What is the second plot? This I don't remember. This I don't remember. Oh yeah. That's super cool. That is super cool. So they're doing the night shift, and this is kind of cool because the night shift plot is kind of overused, right? At first, like, okay, well, night shift sucks, it sucks, but then there's a hope to become the day shift once again. So then Charles goes in and he's so relaxed, and Rosa's like, what the fuck, how are you so relaxed? And Charles like, okay, well, if I tell you a secret, can you keep it? And he brings her to a 24 hours foot parlor, right? And the foot parlor is freaking amazing. They're having great massage, everything is going according to plan, right? And this is kind of cool because it's kind of like a safe haven, right? And Rosa going to the bathroom realized that it's a front for a, I don't know, drug operation, whatever it is, and they're laundering money. They're laundering money, so they have to take it down. And she's pissed because, and this is kind of cool because Charles like, okay, well, what do we do? Do we keep getting massages that are amazing, or will we bust it down? And they decide to bust it down, and Rosa's like, I'm pissed at you guys because you ruined something that was perfect. So, kind of like a good episode, to be honest. Not the best, but not the worst. Actually, pretty good. It's not because we see some of the characters, we don't see them enough, you know? What is it? There's a plot between Terry and. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. So technically speaking, the surgeon, because he's softer, he wants to start, and this is kind of cool because this is the direct result of last episode, where running around soon. Thank you, Third Winslow, my boy. You get Gina who comes in, and you get Terry who had an episode where he said, okay, well, I want to be my own boss. I want to lead my own destiny, which is great because you're like, okay, well, about damn time, bro. But it's even better when you realize why he's doing it. So he's doing it because um he figured out that he was following a lie and now he's trying to find his truth, and he realized that he's been too nice. So for example, Scully and Sully has a fountain. One of them is chocolate and one of them is cheese. Now this is the coolest thing. I got a pimple here and it's bothering me. There you go. Popped it. Popped it like a summer child in July. In August. No, it's a summer child, so it has to be popped in non-summer months. So Scully and Hitchcock have a fountain, and this is such a cool thing because they're having a strawberry, and like, okay, well, you gotta give it back. You gotta give back the chocolate fountain, the cheese fountain, right? And it's kind of funny because he's like, give back the holy shit. We got 124. That's huge. Let's buy 6 cards. Uno, dos, three, ooh baby, 4, 5, 6. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. I'm excited about this. What else? Yeah. So they put the strawberry and cheese, and they call Terry a beautiful bastard because they discovered something that was quite good. The last boss is Gina. Gina, who has a foot eater or a heater, and she called it Felicia. And Felicia is so close to her that she actually burns, which is weird because we saw the scene and the episode where they were taking care of Chester, right? It was Paul that was burning. So again, reusing plot a lot. And it's Gina is surviving, but then she realized that Terry is a good person and he deserves to be. And this is stupid because if Terry was to be supported, it would be by Gina because Gina has a crush on him, right? It doesn't make the most sense, but hey, we'll let it go for now. And that's it. That's it. Amy is helping him, and it's kind of funny because Amy is. It's kind of insane because Amy is one that's supporting the Terry the most, and Amy always had like a teacher pet relationship with upper ups, but when it comes to Terry, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to support you. And it's not the best episode, but it's kind of good. It's kind of good, right? So now we have a Christmas special, and this is kind of cool because the Christmas special in the past have been about Judge Judy. They haven't been great, right? So yeah, they had this inflatable tree that I don't remember, and it ends up being a horrible, which is kind of funny. That's actually pretty good. I don't remember this one. I don't remember this episode. Basically, they have an inflatable tree, and they go in the break room, and it gets too big, so everybody runs away except for Terry. And Terry is managed to get away, and he's like, Jake is like, everybody is safe. God bless America. And Terry's like, yeah. I don't remember this one. I'm sorry. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop here. Now we won't pick up. We will not pick up Brooklyn Nine-Nine for another month. Yeah, for another month. So what I'm gonna do? I want to check. I want to make sure that it works because I want to make sure that we know where we are. We'll pick it up after Spooktober. So like basically in November. No, I don't want to watch this. Why don't you give me where you're at? Aha. Okay. Okay. So I'll see you guys soon. Sorry about this, guys. I'm doing just a lot at the same time. Your boy is exhausted.